Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and with CCP releasing a new dev blog, I have something to talk about. So I'm back mining here. I actually really like this belt because of how close this planet is. Looks pretty cool in my opinion as a background. So let's move on to the dev blog. It's about the upcoming tutorial revisions. With the upcoming launch of Dust 5.14, CCP is expecting a large number of new players that will give EVE Online a try, and in order to try and keep as many of these players as possible, CCP is going to revise once again the tutorials. Now the dev blog is very much in detail about how they went about analyzing the current problems in the tutorials, where people would basically stop going following them and how they are going to try and improve them. So I'm going to go over some of these changes and facets, I guess, that I think are pretty interesting. This is not so much for the veteran EVE Online players, but I think it's pretty important for EVE Online in general and for newer players that want to give it a try. The tutorials, they are very confusing at times, and the more CCP can improve them, the more people will have in the game, and the more people will have to shoot and scam and all that nice stuff. So let's see what stood out to me. One thing that I thought was really awesome that they're going to add is the ability to drag a tutorial in a chat channel. I think for questions and the help channel, that's going to be very useful when a new player can simply drag the tutorial he doesn't understand in the chat channel and then get an explanation. I think that's pretty cool. The next improvement is not just for new players, but I think for us as well. It's the improved module tooltip. So if I go over my strip miner, for instance, I do see strip miner active plagio mining crystal 2 damage 0.70, but they're going to improve that, especially on weapons. So that this tooltip will now also show damage per second, fall off range, optimal range. I think that's an awesome small addition that even veteran players will really appreciate. When it's been a long time that you've flown with let's say a Drake or a Brutix or whatever, and you can't really remember the optimal range of your ship that you're flying at the time, you always have to go back to your fitting and then check the information on your guns. But if it's right there in the tooltip, that's going to be, I think, a great improvement in general. And let's see, another improvement that they're going to make, in my opinion, that's a big deal, is that the entire tutorial will be one long string, where a player can choose to go back and next with the back and next buttons to any tutorial where they want to start off again. So instead of having separate blocks of tutorials, it's now one large string that they can completely browse through, basically. So yeah, I think that's pretty important. Although to more experienced players that have gone through the tutorial once, of course, you know, they'll basically browse with I think it's F12 and then go to tutorials and look for the right one. But a new player will definitely find it very useful that he can simply click back 3 times in order to go back and find a tutorial he's done before but he's forgotten stuff about. So I think that's going to be a pretty nice improvement as well. Let's see. One thing that I noticed in the graph and in the explanation or the analysis of the problems with the tutorials is that a lot of people seem to quit after they explain the skill queue system, which is a little bit surprising to me personally because of how much I actually like the skill system in EVE Online, where skills continue to train even when you're offline, as long as your account is paid. Your skill points increase. But I do think that it's pretty interesting that a lot of people don't appreciate it in that sense whenever they get to that point in the tutorial. And it got me thinking a little bit, if one thing that players don't find back from other MMOs right here in EVE Online that could be helpful in that regard, in my opinion, would be a skill tree. The only thing we really have to go by in order to value the amount of skills we have is the skill point counter. I'm at like 47.5 million skill points, but there's really no visual aid in order to how you're going to progress in your skills. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, personally, if I could do whatever I wanted with it, I would go for a skill queue whenever you choose a ship. And like, if a player goes through the tutorial and they get to the skill queue system, it would be nice, I think, if they would have like a choice of ships that they want to train for next. And then instead of having the prerequisites in this form, they would have like a small skill tree where they could start with one, and then this would branch out a little bit depending on the prerequisite skills, and that way it could help people bridge the gap of the skill queue system in EVE Online, which, although it's awesome, is also very complex and not very intuitive compared to a skill tree that you see in most normal MMOs, shall we say, or mainstream MMOs. So yeah, if that's really a big problem. I'm not sure if CCP can completely beat this problem. If people don't like the skill queue system and the skilling system in EVE Online, and they hook off because of that, then no matter how much they explain it, if that's like a barrier that these players can't cross, then it's very likely that this will remain a major roadblock for a lot of players that start off in EVE Online. And if I had my way with tutorials, of course, one thing that I would also add is like tutorials videos on the screen in the captain's quarters. I think that would be a perfect tool if a player really doesn't understand a certain topic, that he could basically research it on that big screen, and then that I don't know, a player or CCP made tutorial video about it would show up. I think that, like for the planetary interaction tutorial that CCP made, it clearly states all the basics step by step with a visual aid. That's a very powerful tool, in my opinion, that CCP could employ in order to improve the tutorials. Anyways, we're expecting these tutorial changes in the next patch as well, so early August. I'm not sure, I might just check them out to see what it's like. Yeah, maybe make a few videos about them, but I'm not sure if I'm going to want to put the time in them. But still, it's pretty interesting. CCP is highly focused on Dust 514 at the moment, that much is obvious, and they're hoping to attract a lot of players to EVE Online with it as well. And yeah, so they're going to try and improve the tutorials in the next patch as well, probably just to be prepared for this large influx of new players. And I can only hope that they'll be successful in this as well. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time.